気をそれないでください。第14期の教訓、Dokkodo, Miyamoto Musashi. I will elaborate this precept. First, we will explore the outer gate of this precept, Omote. In Agakure by Yamamoto Tsunetomo, he states, quote, "The way of the warrior is found in resolute acceptance of death," end quote. This is and always has been a central theme to understanding the way of the warrior. Even before the age of the samurai, warriors of all nations, backgrounds, and creeds have an understanding that war and death are inseparable. Some may go so far as to don alternate persona when entering a war state. Various rituals, music, sacrifices, and even foods are employed to initiate the transition from everyday life to the trance-like state of the warrior. What is interesting here is the many schools of thought surrounding how one reaches this altered state of mind to face and ultimately transcend death, as not to be hindered by the fear of it. In the scroll Budo Shou Shinshu by Dai Doji Yuzan, he states adamantly about being diligent to one's Lord by having mindfulness of death. To do this, one meditates on all manner of possible means by which one may meet an untimely demise, in both everyday life and on the field of conflict. The idea is that so when one must face adversity, at the end of an opponent's weapon or in any other situation, death and the shock from it has already passed you by. He states further, quote, "One should live as if already dead," end quote. In doing so, one finds themselves with the proper freedom of movement to respond to all manner of calamity, even so far as to recruit death as an ally in combat. Now we will explore the inner gate, or Ura. Outside of physical confrontation, daily contemplation on death would result in one taking your everyday affairs more seriously. Aware of one's limited time, initiative can be taken to completing projects and tending to everyday responsibilities with a greater sense of purpose. Appreciation for even the most mundane things can be realized then, whereas before they may have been taken for granted under the false pretense of, quote, having all the time in the world, end quote. The cold reality is that death is the only real truth you will ever have in life. So long as you are a living entity on this plane of existence, eventually you will die. It is this resolute acceptance of death that serves as a foundation for the resolute acceptance of the truth. This word, Makoto, embodies this principle to its core and is listed as one of the 7 virtues of the warrior. This truth is a primordial basis for the foundation of the universe and its interdependence with life through the modality of change. Without giving death to a previous form, a new form cannot be realized. Refusal of this results in the way of the Shinigami, or death gods. Their mantra, quote, "Death begets more death," end quote, embodies this principle. Transfixed on what was and refusing to see what will be, they are in complete denial of what is, so deeper into the abyss they delve. It is a false way, and unbefitting a warrior, let alone anyone else truly seeking self-actualization. This can be observed in the everyday mind. The very notion of perspective and insight is predicated on the understanding that, to change one's mind, the old point of view must first die to give life to a new perspective. One cannot occupy 2 places at once, but one can always demonstrate an understanding of previous positions. even in combat. The true state of the battlefield is one that is constantly changing. Should your mind be preoccupied with this thing and that, not willing to let go out of fear of losing it, out of fear of death, you are creating the very conditions under which death will greet you. But if one has already resolutely accepted death and enters the battlefield as if already dead, fear cannot chain you down, nor sword will ever cut you because you've already been cut. No opponent can tread you down because you were not there for them to do so. Your form, waza, kamae, and sword attitude will be free to adopt all forms under heaven and respond to the changing situations that occur on the battlefield in the spirit of mushin, or no mind. That is to say, your mind will be like the void, the nothing from which all things spontaneously become something. In this state, how can anyone defeat you, except for yourself? In conclusion, this precept is not promoting a wanton depravity for self-destruction or the destruction of others. It is not a nihilistic rejection of the everyday world or of the self. It is an absolute, resolute acceptance of the true state of what is. The truth is the truth. Death is death. When all else abandons you in life, death will always be there to embrace you within its shadow. It will not lie to you. It will not deceive you. Moreover, it will always show you who you are when you gaze within its umbra, face to face. Thus, for the one who walks alone, do not fear death. Os.